Critical conversation is a conversation that reveals important context, not only about ourselves, but about other people. Critical conversations edify, heal, and provide substance. Join Latanya Harris-Gooden as she introduces us to critical conversations right here on Trailblazers Radio.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. This is LHG. I am just coming to let you know that I am an independent paparazzi jewelry consultant. You didn't know that, did you? Well, now you know. So I would love to be your personal jewelry lady. Paparazzi is an amazing company. We sell nickel and lead-free jewelry. We are known for our $5 bling, but you just need to know there is an exclusive Z collection that's $25. It's the bling of all bling when you're really going out on the town and you want to show up absolutely fabulous. So we have items for women, for men, and for young fashionistas out there. We don't discriminate. If you need it, I'm sure we got it. You have the opportunity to follow my page on Facebook called Polished on Purpose, a VIP group. Follow my personal page, Latanya Harris-Gooden. And I have my own website that is at your disposal 24/7. So many ways to shop. So let me be the one that makes sure you are accessorized the way you should be. Because I want you to be polished on purpose. My mentor always tells me, when you show up, people are checking you out. They're watching you. So why not be polished? Be poised. Be purposeful. Glam it up with pop, honey. I got what you need. Well. Good evening to you and welcome to tonight's episode of Girl Chat Weekly. We are talking about embracing our bodies, and I have a couple of special guests. I'm so excited. Before we get started, I need you to do me a huge favor and go over on YouTube and look up Trailblazers with the Z Radio and hit the subscribe button, please. We are on the road to 100 subscribers and we need your help. Also, if you are not following Critical Conversations on Facebook and YouTube, yes, I got a YouTube channel now, please do so today. And if you missed last Thursday's special episode of Critical Conversations presents The Journey to Healing, Coco's story. Coco is one of our fellow podcasters, the COO of Trailblazers Radio, and she suffers from an autoimmune disease that has been really decreasing her quality of life in terms of how she feels daily. We did a whole show. She shared her testimony. We talked about autoimmune diseases. We talked about how it affects women and what it is, what it's not. So go back and watch the replay. We have a GoFundMe going because she needs a treatment that is not covered by traditional insurance. That's a conversation in itself, because the things that probably will help you, the insurance companies shy away from covering. They call it experimental. Yeah, they may not want you healed. Everybody don't want to see you healed. But anywho, we have a GoFundMe and the treatment is almost $10,000. It's a lot. And we need help helping our sister to get her treatment as soon as possible so she can feel good. She doesn't have pain-free days right now. We do believe in prayer. We do believe in God, but we also believe that God has anointed people in various arenas, such as modern medicine. And when there is a treatment that is described as revolutionary for her particular illness, we want to jump on that because we want her to be able to enjoy life. She's young. I mean, she's the baby of the bunch, even though she's our big sister. She's the baby of the bunch. So we just want to love on her. She is a wife and have a nonprofit. She feeds the community. She has so much work to complete in ministry. And just, I want her to be able to just enjoy the fullness of life abundantly. like the word of God says. So I'm excited about tonight. I'm going to bring up our guest and we're going to jump into conversation. Let's pray first, if you don't mind. If I talk to the Father, thank you very much. Father, in the name of Jesus, you are great. I love you. You are amazing. And this happens to be Valentine's Day. God, you are love and love is God. I thank you because you gave us the gift of connectivity. I thank you for these sisters who are joining me tonight. I ask you to bless them for their willingness to come on this platform and share. Let something be said tonight that lifts a bowed down head. Let something be said tonight that gives someone the encouragement to just keep going, that hope and help is attainable, that you are loved fully and completely. You're fearfully and wonderfully made by a mighty God. So, God, do what you always do and just have your way. Settle down in this conversation, and we want to speak from your heart. So, whatever you would like the women tonight to know, we are willing vessels to be used by you. And I thank you for all that you've done and all that you're doing. In Jesus' name, amen. So, if you've been watching the show, I've been dealing with the 7 areas of wellness. We getting ready to be healed and whole in every area. Can you imagine a life where every area of your life is lined up and tuned up with the will of God and the plan for your life? You're talking about peace. Peace is God's currency, and we want that. I'm going to bring my guests up and introduce them. This is Girls Chat. Go get your coffee. I got me a, I don't know what this little thing, this sweet thing is. It's sweet. It's my Valentine's Day drink. Don't come in here dehydrated. Don't come in here ashy. Go get some lotion and go get your drink. And we're getting ready to just chill and have girl chat. I'm bringing Tracy Curry up first. My girlfriend, my fellow rock
Hello,
sister. Hey,
hello.
Tracy. Thank you
Hi.
for getting out with me again on Girl Chat Weekly. I need all of you to tag your girlfriends. I need all of you to tag your aunties, your mama, big mama, Medea, tag them. The information you're going to get tonight is important, and I need you all to fill those comments with some names of people, some women that you know will need this. Okay. So I
Okay.
got my fellow Papa sister. We are teammates. She is a beautiful, amazing soul. I thank you for hanging with me. For those who are in the Detroit area, this is the CEO of Brightmore Bling. I grew up in Brightmore. Brightmore. For those who
Yes.
are in the Brightmore area, you have a blingologist in your neighborhood. I'm getting an echo, and I don't know why. Hold on. Let me make sure I have my devices turned down. Okay. All right. So if you are a person who loves bling and you're in the Brightmore area, you need to know that you have your own personal jewelry lady in your neighborhood. I need you all to connect with her and buy that jewelry up, honey. Buy it up,
Yes.
girl. All right. So Tracy, we're going to bring up our special guest tonight. We're doing part 2.5 of embracing our body. We're going to take it a different perspective tonight. And I am going to bring my next guest up. Let's get her on the screen here. Good evening, sister. Hello.
Hello.
Hi there. How are
Thank
you?
you so much for joining us tonight. Now, let me pronounce it right. It's Dana.
Yes, ma'am. Dana, just like Hannah.
Sister Dana McKellar Nataka?
You got it.
I got it. Yes. Yes. Thank you for being here, sister. Let me just say this, everybody. Those of you who are fans of Facebook and all kinds of social media, it is a great thing to make positive connections. When I befriend people and Facebook says people who you may know, I look at the profiles, I look at their occupations, I look at what they've done, and I say, oh, now, this is somebody I want to connect to. I've watched her live videos. She is a wealth of information. She is a clinical researcher, and she's going to tell you what type of research that she does. Let me give you a little bit of information. I went on her page. The Campus of Care. Did I say it right?
Yes, that's correct. The Campus of
She
Care.
is the founder and CEO. And I found this information on her page. Every 12 hours, a woman dies of childbirth complications.
Wow.
I had to stare at that. Then I
Mhm.
saw it, the next one said 60% of the deaths are preventable. Wow.
That's correct.
She studies diseases that affect women, children, marginalized people. Let me give you a little bit of some background. The Campus of Care Global Healthcare Corporation is a public research institute that focuses on healthy outcomes for women and children. Innovation and advanced level research is the hallmark of these scientists and clinicians. We got some scientists in our community, y'all. Come on here.
Right.
Clinical research professional Dana McKellar Nataka is the CEO of the Campus of Care Global Healthcare Corporation, serving Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Dallas, Texas. Health equity has been the focus of this research institute since its founding on August 26, 2005. So she's not new to this, okay? And the company operates domestically but has a global reach and influence. The key phrase that caught me is health equity. And what popped up in
Okay.
my mind is I'm not so sure if health care is equitable amongst all people. And I want to talk about that because this is girl chat. We're talking about women, what affects women, and that's an astounding statement that I read about women dying from childbirth complications. What's supposed to be the most beautiful moment of your life puts you closer to death probably than anything else. And many women, as you've heard, aren't making it. What's happening? Is the health care enough to help keep us alive in this moment when we're just trying to give birth to life? This is heavy. So I'm going to ask my sister Dana to first of all introduce herself to us. Let's start there and give us some background. Seeing that you are a clinical researcher, I want the audience to know the type of research you do. We'll start there and then I'll get into some questions. So welcome to Critical
One.
Conversations, my sister.
Thank you so much for having me, and so good to see you too, Sister Tracy. My name is Dana McKellar Intaka, and I am a native of East Texas. My town is called Tyler,
All right.
and I am a graduate of Southwestern Christian College in Terrell, Texas, which is one of our historically Black colleges. After completing my biology degree, I went on to Temple University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to study biology, pre-medicine, and public health. I have worked at Temple University Hospital at the medical school. I've worked at University of Pennsylvania, Johns Hopkins, studying on the ICU with babies that are premature, studying their breathing patterns. I've gone out into the field in East Baltimore, collecting data in patients' homes, their blood pressures, urine samples, breathing tests, brain studies, brain waves, to bring that physiologic information back to the lab for us to study what types of disorders these clients have. And when I was at Johns Hopkins, I had the opportunity to become familiar with the phrase that after you are at Johns Hopkins, you can go anywhere. People come to places like Temple University, University of Pennsylvania, and Hopkins with disorders that have not even been named. People come from all over the world to say, I've been suffering with this disorder, or as I said, something that doesn't even have a name yet. So my particular area of research has to do with health equity, sexual health and reproductive medicine, and childbirth falls under that. I have
Yes.
collected data on over 3,500 women. We look at this data on the computer, and we're able to map it kind of like a blueprint and to predict what the health outcomes will be. So we're kind of like a walk-in book of statistics. We
Mhm.
like to look at the numbers, and any mathematician, if you say like that statistic caught your attention. If you say 1 in 5 or 20% of anything, $20 out of $100 is much more significant than $1 or $5. So that's how the numbers look in America. And we are researching to find out why. And we have some help from the World Health Organization and the CDC. There are numerous reasons. Number one being that conditions like preeclampsia, which is where a woman has elevated blood pressure, it can turn to seizures and can become fatal. Those types of conditions, you can have a woman to come into the clinic in the afternoon and they're doing just fine. And then on the way home, they have an episode and the blood pressure spikes. So our researchers are doing studies like continuous glucose monitoring and continuous hypertension monitoring to be able to capture that data in real time. And technology and computers certainly helps us out. There's bias in medicine, whether it's conscious or unconscious. We hear about it all the time with people like Serena Williams that just wasn't listened to when she said, I have a health condition. I suffer with blood clots. I would like to have a CT scan. The patient is educated about their own health. And in medical research, we have a patient first. We believe in listening to the patient.
Yes. I love that. Listen to the patient. That's huge.
There's more. Yes. There's much more. So the Centers for Disease Control, as well as the World Health Organization, says that if we have a doula, and the word doula means service, they are trained birth workers that assist in the delivery room. If in Great Britain, everyone has a midwife as well as an OBGYN, and there's a team effort to monitor these patients. Right now in America, there is an effort between the cardiologist and the obstetrics team to merge into what is called cardio obstetrics, where there is a physician out of London conducted research on athletes. And what he found was that an Olympian gets to work out maybe 50 hours, which is pretty intense, but they go home and they rest. But the expectant mother, her heart is working 24 hours a day for 9 months, and she doesn't get a break. That cardiovascular load is really going to take a toll on the mother's body. So we are making some strides in research and getting to the bottom of the problem. A lot of it is just making the public aware, which is where we come in as clinical researchers and public health professionals to get this information out of the lecture halls, out of the labs, and into the public.
That is
at conversations like this.
Wow. And thank you for that. I want to talk about, you talked about women's health. I have suffered from fibroids. Is this something that is particularly common in the African American community? What has been your experience with why that may seem so prevalent for us? Because I know I had a couple of procedures. Again, I still suffer from a lot of pain abdominally. What has been your research in that area?
It's great that you've asked that. There are many theories and philosophies out there. We do know that simply from a data collection standpoint, that fibroid tumors are prevalent in the African American community. And you have scientists that want to focus on diet. Many people focus on the stress of living in America as a reason for many of our pelvic issues, especially where mental health is concerned. When we lead a stressful life, we have the hormones, the negative hormones that are circulating through our bloodstream and causing various issues. There's a lot of research still out there about the why, and we call that, we don't say why in medical science, we say what is the mechanism of, and we don't really know all of the mechanisms right now.
Wow.
We're still learning, still studying.
Yes, and I'm glad because the research needs to continue. Tracy, I'm going to put you in this conversation. Since it's the day of love and we are embracing our bodies, what type of self-love routine have you been doing in terms of your mental health, physical health, emotional health? I want to know what's your way of taking care of Tracy. Unmute, sis. Unmute. You muted. Hold on. You got your mute button on. Okay.
I'm getting bits and pieces. I'm having a bad connection.
You are?
I'm hearing you bits and pieces, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me okay right now?
Bits and pieces.
It's still, you want to go
Sorry.
out and come back in and see if it's clearer?
I didn't understand. I am so sorry. I
That's
can't.
okay. That's okay. If you want to go out and come back in and try it,
Yeah.
and then if it doesn't work, you can come in the comments. It's okay. No problem. All right. So, Miss Dana, when I first encountered you on Facebook, there was something about you to me that radiates peace and health and prosperity and strength. Even your skin is impeccably beautiful.
Thank
So
you so much.
no, what do you do? What's your regimen? What's your mantra when it comes to taking care of every dimension of Dana? What is that like?
I'm so great. I'm so glad that you asked that. And just like you have embraced the 7 dimensions of health and wellness, our company has as well. We want to make sure that your finances are strong, that you are achieving your educational goals, that if you are in your career that you desire to be in, that you're advancing in that endeavor. For me, I don't like the term workaholic. I think it has such a negative connotation, but I am a worker bee. And
Okay.
I use work as my go-to. If I'm happy, if I'm sad, if I'm angry, whatever I am, I work it out. I do work out a lot,
Okay.
talking about women's health and our perceptions of ourselves. We often hear women talk about their weight. I'm a small person. The people who are full figured want to lose 15 pounds. Those of us who are thin want to gain 5 pounds. I work out a lot. I do walk every day. And depending on when you met me, you said that I radiate peace. If you met me in the last 6 years, then you've met me at a time where I have been grieving my firstborn son.
Wow.
So the peace that you see is probably a part of my personality.
Wow.
But some of the things that I have experienced over the past 6 years certainly would not bring many people peace, but I have a strong walk with the Lord. I pray, I sing, I journal, and I write. I drink a lot of water, and I take my bubble baths every day. As much as I work a 12 or 16-hour shift, I make sure that I get that bubble bath every day. That's my wind down, and I rub myself with my olive oil.
Yes.
Some of my rituals.
I love it because as women, I've used the word workaholic for myself, and the way that I've approached work in the past is the thing that, and thank you for joining, Simone. Thank you, Tracy. Yes, meditation is good. The area that I felt the most comfortable in or the most successful in is where I put all of my energy. So if I felt that I was great at my job, but not so great in my home, not so great in relationships, not so great in other areas, I would put everything into the one thing that I felt I dominated in.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, when you do that and you work so much that it could be the contributing factor to why the other things are not working well. If you're, working 10, 12, 14 hours and you're a wife, how do you expect to come home and still have the mental capacity and the physical capacity to spend quality time and to have those bonding moments? So that workaholic attitude was taking me to a place of crashing and burning. COVID-19, as horrific as it's been, and we've lost so many people, what it did do on a positive note for me is slow me down.
Yes.
When the world shut down at unprecedented times and things changed, The way I looked at work was different. We were able to work from home a couple days. I am not a work from home person. I will just be honest, because there is a separation for me mentally between work and home. And if your work is extremely stressful and you do it at home, you invite that stress, in my opinion. I'm just saying, this is me.
For
I've
you.
invited that stress into my home, and there was no real separation. Now, some people can cut it on, cut it off, work at home. I found myself looking at the computer on weekends, holidays, worried about everything that I might have missed, deadlines. So for me, going in the office was my way of saying I am dividing my time and my energy between work and home. And when I'm at work, work matters. And then when I swipe my badge to leave, work is over. But it still didn't work. I still brought my work home in my head. I mean, when you work like that because you're trying to prove something. I mean, let's just be honest. In the industry of just business, I still feel that there is a disparity between African American employees and how non African American employees are seen and treated. I feel as a Black woman, I have had to work harder, prove myself even more to even be eligible for a seat at the table. So, with that, you end up working longer hours, trying to push to impress, trying to push to even make the mediocre spot to get a decent performance review. And you're not looked at for your triumphs, you're looked at for your mistakes. Whereas your counterpart, I mean, and let me just make a disclaimer. I love all people, all colors, all creeds, but the truth is the truth, and that's what I speak. So where I work and have worked in the past, there has been an obvious disparity in the treatment. So with that stress coming home, and every stressful email that would come through, I would reach for chips, reach for cookies. I wanted to crunch. I needed to, it was just something mentally that said, you need to crunch on something
Hmm.
as a distraction from the stress, which
Right.
means putting on more weight. I didn't take lunch, I didn't take breaks, but I had snacks. So
Mhm.
that in itself is not good for the health. I didn't want to drink water. This is going to sound crazy because that meant I had to go to the bathroom. I didn't want to get up from the desk. I'm just being honest. I was just so intertwined into my work and just trying to be the best of the best, that it really worked against me. So I had to learn how to take care of me, which in some cases means you have to step back and let's normalize the 8 hour day versus the 14-hour day if you can do that, and not teach people that you're invincible when you're not. I'm a human being like everybody else. So if I come to work at 7, no, I shouldn't be leaving at 7 p.m. So I started leaving on time. And guess what it did? It made them say, oh, where you going? Home. I came in before you. I shouldn't leave after you. So this whole girl chat is to tell you, ladies, take control and get in the driver's seat of your health. Advocate for you. You can't expect a doctor to be your advocate all the time, a spouse, a child. This is your body, your temple, your mind, your heart, your spirit, your soul. Life is a gift from God, and we've got to get into life preservation and in making sure our quality of life is increased. I want to talk about diet. Sister Dana, you mentioned how you take care of yourself. Talk to me about the foods that you take, anything else that you take that keeps you so healthy and that skin so glowing and sun kissed. Talk to me about that.
Thank you so much. I have always been a bit extreme in my food choices.
Okay.
I want to gain some weight, but I probably don't eat the things that would make you gain weight. I eat a lot. I have a high metabolism and I work a lot, so I have to eat. I probably eat like the men eat. When it's time to have dinner, I have 2 plates and sometimes 3. May not look like it, but I eat my chicken baked. I eat a lot of fish. I do have some food allergies because I have an autoimmune disorder that's going on
Wow.
too, but I don't meat. eaten pork since I was a little girl, probably 16 or 17. When I went off to college and I called my family and said, I'm going to become a vegetarian, they said, well, that's fine. We understand. I used to leave the chicken leg on my plate sometimes because farm girl from East Texas, my grandparents were in that industry, farming and meat packing. I was a biologist. And if I saw them walking around or running around, then I didn't want to eat them. But I eat a lot. I eat what I want. I do have a little bit of a sweet tooth, but I drink my water. I don't drink sodas. I'm not a coffee drinker. So my mom is PhD RN. So we grew up in the house with no sodas and all of that. So it's kind of, my taste buds are a little bit different from everybody else's. But I like a good pound cake and a good chocolate, anything, but within moderation.
Oh,
With
wow.
moderation. I love to bake. So I do sugar, some natural brown sugar as opposed to all of the white sugar. I have some alternative recipes for my baking that it tastes really good, and it's a healthier version. I don't like anything, a lot of white stuff that's processed.
That's good.
This is the best. Yes.
Yes, I am trying to fall in love with vegetables, trying to
Okay.
make my plate more colorful. Now when I go to the
Very good.
doctor, because I have um osteoarthritis and some ailments that make it difficult to move the joints, the bones, some degenerative things in my body. So when I go to
Excuse
the
me one
doctor,
moment.
oh, okay. Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to like and share. You want to reach 100 subscribers. Thank you, Simone. Let me know y'all in here.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. So now that, well, medicine is changing. So when I go to the doctor and I tell the doctor I'm in a lot of pain, she's back. She's back, Simone. They were asking about you. You're pretty popular. Thank you.
Yeah, I had to stop my line from ringing.
Thank you, sister. When I go to the doctor now about pain, they're now taking an approach that involves a team of physicians. So they
Yes.
may have a doctor that is a pain doctor, a nutritionist, someone that deals with the psychiatric portion of my health. Oh, Simone, you talking about Tracy? Tracy has some technical difficulties, Simone. I'm so sorry. She's in the comments though. So she had to let the line go. I'm sorry, Simone. But instead of just pumping you with pills, some hospital networks are trying to take an approach where they find out the root of your pain and you're okay, sorry, Tracy, and not just say, here, take this pain pill. I like that approach. And now they're even starting to talk about diet. Hi, Diamond Butterfly. They're talking about eliminating meats, eliminating
Yes.
sweets, eliminating certain types of snacks and things that are too fatty or um, fried. So, because and that wasn't happening years ago. You go in a doctor, they give you some Tylenol, whatever, and you go home. But now they're finally saying we need to find out what's stressing you, Latanya. Maybe that's um, contributing to your eating habits. How do we get weight off of you the right way? Those of you who know me know that I did have bariatric surgery in 2012, but unfortunately, I have gained probably about 75% of that weight because surgery is not a cure all. You have to change your lifestyle. And I got down to an ideal weight and unfortunately started going back to um, previous eating habits. And I did not address the issues that put me in the obese category, which could be trauma, which could be rejection issues, abandonment issues, whatever. There definitely is a psychological component, I believe, to some of our obesity issues. Tracy wants to know more about eating right. So, Dana,
Yes.
can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes, ma'am, I can. I am not a nutritionist, but I can tell you as a scientist, we do have to take nutrition and we have to take a lot of chemistry and physics, biochemistry, and pharmacology. We see in the African American population, we see diabetes, we see hypertension. Really, even in America, we see a lot of diabetes. And what I can tell you is that I have learned that diabetes is a disease of wealthy nations because in some places they can't afford to eat the way that we eat. The lavish meals. How often do we go out to dinner? Our portions are so much larger than places around the corner. But as far as hypertension is concerned, at the biochemical level, having a lot of sugar in our diet affects the way your blood pressure works and your kidneys, and they all have functions to keep your homeostasis, everything, even all of your numbers looking correct. So we have to really watch our sugar. People say, oh, you have to be careful about the salt, but we have to be careful about sugar too. And in moderation, if you like to have a slice of pie, just don't have a slice of pie every day. Have a slice of pie on Fridays. You hear people say that they have a cheat day. Today was my cheat day that I had to write all day for a 12-day writing timeline that I have to meet. So I allowed myself to have some Pepperidge Farm chessman cookies, and I allowed myself to
Oh, I love
have some potato chips that felt salty and sweet. I love
Yes.
chessman cookies. So I had 3 cookies. And I said, okay, 3 is enough. Discipline. But when I feel like I just need to munch on something, my go-to is apples. I slice my apples before I go to work and I munch my apples. I have on Sunday nights, I make a big fruit salad and I make a regular salad. In my salad, I have 3 or 4 kinds of lettuce. I have my baked chicken. I have onions, peppers, everything. So whatever I'm having for dinner, whether it's fish, if it's baked chicken, I have my salad. I have my string beans. I like bread.
Oh, I love bread.
I should be much heavier the way I eat bread. But again, it doesn't do for me what it does for everybody else. But I just like to have a balanced diet and lots of color. I do eat rice. I do like pasta. Just eat balanced and keep a journal of what you're eating. Just like we keep a budget with our money, we need to keep a budget of what we're eating. Count your calories and just take a look over the past month and say, wow, I ate that. Also, processed food. I eat everything fresh. I don't like a lot of things out of the can and out of the box because as a scientist, it's like I'm reading the labels. It takes me forever to get out of the grocery store. When I was married, my husband bought the groceries because I was in there reading all the labels, and he's a scientist too, but he able to turn it off and I couldn't turn it off. So yes, read your labels. And there's a lot of things that go inside of our food. As researchers, medical researchers, we deal a lot with the Food and Drug Administration. And when you read a label, everything is in chronological order based on the amount. So the first item in a box should be the greatest amount. And then the last item should be the least amount. Then there are up to 25 or 30 other small trace amounts of things that may not even make it on to the label. If you notice, when our grandparents and great grandparents were living, they were growing their own food, they had their own gardens, or they went to a farmer's market. They were living longer. Even though some of them put the fat back and everything into the food, they were still living longer though. They may not have always been healthy, but they were living longer than we are now with more money and more options. So I just think we need to take advantage of all the options we have today, like a forum like this.
Yes. Tracy's asking, is brown rice a good choice?
Yes, a lot of people like brown rice because it's not bleached, just like I mentioned, the sugar. Some people use the wheat flour. I use brown rice. I use the wheat flour as well, but I do like jasmine. I like white rice too. So, but if I could have my choice, more times in the week, I will have brown rice and I'll have the white rice fewer times. and portion control, especially for diabetics. If you're diabetic, carbohydrates convert to sugar very quickly. A diabetic should not have a huge bowl of pasta like runners do. I'm a runner, so before we go on a run, we have pasta because it carries you with that energy that you need for a long distance run. But we do need to have smaller portions. All of us, not just the diabetics.
That's good. I'm noticing, and let me just dispel the myth that every obese person just eats all day. That is not true.
Yes.
A lot of people assume that, oh, you got that big because you're just, your cookie monster and just eating. Some of us don't eat enough, and our metabolisms aren't strong enough to, create the necessary energy. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how to describe it, but I have to get better with eating more throughout the day, because sometimes if you starve yourself with food, for example, being at work 10 hours and not eating, I would go home and have a full 2 pork chops, potatoes and greens at 7:30, and then by 7:45 I'm ready to lay down.
Okay.
That's a problem. So many of us just need to take the time to eat and then watch what we're eating. Maybe stretch it out to a few smaller meals throughout the day, so you don't have
Exactly.
this giant heaping amount of fatty food at late at night, and then you get the itis and you want to go to sleep. So please know, it's because many of us are obese. We are not eating all day,
That's
24/7.
right.
Some of us,
That's
our
right.
bodies are responding to, how we eat in terms of not eating at all or having that one good meal. I do my best to try to start the day with something. They say breakfast is important. So I try to at least get something going in my system. I'm trying to fall back in love with vegetables, fruit, and get used to like almonds, and just kind of be creative
Yes.
with my snacking. But a
Very
lot
good.
of it is just taking the time to be aware of what you're consuming. We get so busy, sisters. We get so inundated with life. Life is lifing. And we stop
Yes.
at Wendy's and get the 4 for 4, the 5 for 5, the 2 for 2, the 1 for 1. They're making those options cheaper to
Yes.
attract you. And although it may seem convenient, it's working against our bodies. It's totally processed, full of sodium, full of whatever. As I drink my sweet drink, I'm gonna put my drink down and get my water. Y'all, excuse me. I'm transitioning. I'm gonna do that. Excuse me. Hmm. Thank you, God. So it's just a
That's
matter of not falling prey to, oh, it's convenient. And
yes.
I want to do meal prep. If you go to the market, first of all, be a educated shopper. As Dana is telling us, watch the processed foods, watch the box stuff and the canned stuff, because if it's on the shelf for 2 years, it's probably full of salt. So you have to go fresh vegetables, or even maybe even frozen vegetables. Go
Yes.
a different route, make different choices, because I know that back in the day, I know from my family, uh, our meals consisted of 3 and 4 meats, and they probably were fried, 4 or 5 sides, a couple of good vegetables. It would be some green on the plate, but we also cook our vegetables so long that I think we're cooking the nutrients out of them. If you cook your
Yes.
cabbage or your greens and it turned clear, you have cooked every mineral and nutrient out of your food. So the preparation is even the key, I think, in some of the things that we prepare. It's really going to take a deprogramming. Culturally, we fry everything. We'll fry each other if we could. We fry everything. In the girl getting that skillet. And I'm like, we're going to have to get into the baking of the meat and not so much seasoning. We season stuff to death. You don't even recognize what it was, because we over season. You can't even taste the flavor of the vegetables because you got so much soul seasoning and mama seasoning, grandmama seasoning, and Uncle John seasoning. So we just gotta probably just take a step back and just realize my life is worth living. What am I consuming? What am I giving my temple? Am I giving it the fuel that it needs to take me the distance? And in terms of how much water we should drink, Dana, what is your suggestion?
I want to give you the latest from from the GI team, the gastroenterologist, as well as the GI researchers. They recommend 64 ounces per day.
Okay.
You need to check with your physician because you suffer from water retention and you have any kind of cardiac issues. Talk with your physician about how much you should take a day. There's another question on the floor about alkaline water. From a scientific perspective, there's really no such thing as alkaline water. I know they sell it on the shelves, but when you understand what pH is, neutral is 7. Our blood is 7.4. Your stomach acid should be around 2.7. Your vagina should be around 3.4. Anything that goes up to 8 or 9, that's really not water anymore. So water has a neutral pH. It's 7. So I see the alkaline water. I hear the people, these new age gurus talking about the glories of alkaline water. And I just want them to explain to me scientifically what it is, because alkaline means basic, acidic is in the opposite direction. So if they can tell me what alkaline water is, I've been trying to read and find out. And I've been studying the human body anatomically and studying disease processes for over 30 years. And I just drink regular water. I don't even know, is alkaline water more expensive? But I hear even the Dr. Sabis of the world, they talk about the alkaline diet and the alkaline water. Just like do some more research and figure out what it is. As I said, I don't spend the money for alkaline water. I just drink whatever your favorite brand of water is. Get your water in. I will say that depending on what city you're in, we do know that there are trace elements of lead in all of our water. Every household that was built before 1978 has lead paint. So if you live in an older home, make sure that your home has been treated. Even the pipes that water is carried in were leaded pipes. So if you have to drink your local water, there's a Brita filter. Many people will boil their water and allow it to sit. Call your water treatment plant and find out what the issues are with the water, because even for those people who drink water that is bottled, most of us use water from the tap for your cooking. You fill your pot of water to boil your pasta or your string beans. So contact your water treatment facility and find out what the problem is with the water. If there are any in your neighborhood, go to your city council meetings, get involved with the public health department so that you can keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on in your specific neighborhood. We know Flint has had issues. There are some communities in Pennsylvania that have issues. Mississippi right now is suffering with the public health crisis, just like Flint. Probably worse than Flint. I think it's affecting the whole state of Mississippi. Some articles have recently come across my desk from other public health professionals across the country, about Mississippi.
Wow. Those are great questions, everyone. Simone says
Well,
she's
if I
trying to
answer
do
them,
better. Oh, I think you're doing an amazing job. Keep on drinking that water, Simone. I'm trying to do better too with water, because I know dehydration is real. And when you're not drinking it, I feel as though my whole body slows down. I'm not thinking clearly. And that's when I know I need to get my water intake in, because sometimes I don't. I did well. We did a 21-day fast with my church. I did really good getting my ounces in, but you got to keep that going every day. And I keep water in the car. Now, one thing about me though, Dana, I like to add those little packets of calorie-free things. Are those really good for you, or do they what do you think about those?
I think occasionally, my mother will have one every now and then. You still need to get your pure water in. I like the lemon wedges. I like to drop a couple of cucumbers over in mine, lime. I always put some mint in it, but I just like water. And I take my 64 ounces and I treat myself to a little cranberry juice, apple, and orange juice, but I'm a water person. I'm always sipping Crystal Light. Yes, that's one of the popular ones.
Crystal Light used to be $700 back in the day. That was expensive.
Really? For what quantity? Like for a month's worth?
I'm being dramatic, Dana, but it used to be so expensive back in the day. I don't know how
Yes.
it may be cheaper now, but Crystal Light wasn't light on the finances. So I
got it.
started going to the Dollar Tree. Well, the $1.25 tree. Let's shame the devil today. It's no longer a
Yes.
Dollar Tree, and that'll be a different show because I am upset about that. But I get the country time. But the thing about it is I overindulge. I know putting it in every bottle of water and creating like a dependency on it, you're taking away from having pure water. So what I also have been doing, Dana, is taking a little bit of juice like cranberry and putting it in my water, just a little bit to give it a slight taste. Because I just plain water, unless it's hot summertime, I have kind of an issue just really chug a lugging. So I put a little bit of something just to give it a light flavor. But even with juices, you have to be careful. I mean, some of those juices say
They're full
1%
of sugar.
1% juice. What's the other 99? What is this
Right.
drinking?
Well, they're
Sugar.
just drinks. Those aren't juices. Those are juice-based drinks, and there is a difference
Hey,
between
yeah.
pure juice like apple juice, but even with the children's juices that are supposed to be reduced sugar, some of them still have many more grams of sugar than what you would want your toddler to have. I did have another thought about weight loss, and
Okay.
that is with stress hormones. Cortisol
Mm,
is one hormone that courses through your bloodstream when you are living a stress-filled life. When you are in that toxic employment situation, when you are in that toxic relationship, when your extended family has a lot of troubles and trauma going on, that muffin top that we have,
woo,
cortisol is responsible for keeping us from being able to lose weight. So the Food and Drug Administration recommends that every adult woman take in 2,000 calories a day and that every adult man take in 2,500 calories a day. So in
okay.
order to be able to lose weight, a woman would need to be burning 2,500 calories and taking in 2,000 calories so that the difference is 500 calories, and
Mm,
that would be lost. You mentioned kind of starving yourself. Your body is really smart, and it's not going to allow you to starve itself. It's going to hold on to the adipose tissue, which is what we call fat anatomically. It's going to hold on to that weight. So keep in mind simple things like just walking, getting out of your vehicle and walking around the block before you hit your front door, taking the stairs at work. I take the stairs in the hospital or in the medical school, and then I deliberately go out and walk because for me, with grief, I had to attack it. That's a stressful situation,
yeah.
losing a 21-year-old kid. I
Ooh,
had to attack it like I was in the military. I had to put my boots on, my backpack, and I had to hike 5 miles a day. I had to really work with that thing because it was just a lot. And I'm claimed victory about 6 months ago, but in 12 days, it will be 6 years since I lost my 21-year-old son. Do you
wow.
recommend supplements like ashwagandha or magnesium glycinate to combat stress, or is that all hype? I've got to read some more articles on that. There are some stress relieving things that you can do. You mentioned meditations, you mentioned exercise. Exercise releases endorphins. Those are our natural happy hormones. So just exercising is going to make you happier, even though it's going to hurt your muscles, but get your good stretch before and after, and check with your physician, of course, before you embark upon any exercise routine. But I'll get back to you on that. I can plug it into my Medline search engine and see what the latest research is on that. That's not in my particular area, so I don't have those statistics handy.
Thank you for these wonderful questions. I thought it said you recommend Wakanda Forever. I'm glad you can pronounce that. Ashwagandha. Um,
Ashwagandha.
Ashwagandha sounds serious. Now, okay, Dana. I want to, as we get ready to close, I want to thank you for coming on. I gotta have you back because I really want to learn
Thank
more
you.
about your process. Our condolences for the loss of your child.
Thank
I
you so much.
know that I couldn't even imagine, and just seeing how victorious you are pushing through that And there's a
Amen.
book coming, isn't it? I think you mentioned
Yes,
that.
we already did book one, which is named after one of my favorite gospel songs, How Did I Make It Over? And
Yes.
then book two is Oh Happy Day. And then the book three is By and By, all based on gospel songs talking about my entire ordeal over the past 10 years. So
I love
12 more
it.
days and people can pre-order their book. They'll be back mid-March, around the 12th of March. It takes about 2 weeks from ordering to get, we're ordering 200 boxes. And of course, whenever you get a chance to bring me back, I do a lot of speaking
Yeah.
about stress on our health and the stress of multiple stresses of grief. And grief is not just the loss of life, it's loss of, we all went through grief
Yeah.
with COVID-19, loss of
Yeah.
family members, loss of normalcy. If you've
Yes.
lost a marriage, it's just there are many other things that you can grieve just outside of the loss of life.
We definitely have to have you back very soon because I want to get into that. We've got one last question. Simone says, I'm taking Vitacraves, one a day, woman vitamins daily. Is this good for me?
Okay. I'm not familiar with the brand Vitagraves, but any uh, one a day woman's vitamins, they have iron in them that we need. They have all the basics. I don't see any problem with that, but I can take that name. I'm making some mental notes of these questions so I can get back with Latanya when I have some solid answers, but I'm not familiar with that brand. But usually any multiple vitamin is good for you, and be sure that you run that past your physician when you go in. People don't realize that you even need to tell when they ask you what drugs and supplements you're taking. You even need to list your herbs because some herbs have
Hmm.
interactions with drugs because they are derived from the same thing. So you may be getting an over amount that your body needs.
Great
Thank
information. And
you.
be an advocate for your
Great
health.
question.
Great questions. Be an advocate in your health process, sisters. When you go to the doctor, make sure you are telling them everything that's going on. And Dana even suggested when I spoke with her yesterday, keeping a journal of when you experience certain pains, certain differences in your body. Write it down because you know how they ask you, well, how long have you been dealing with it? 3 days, and it could be 3 weeks.
That's
So
right.
take the time to write down as you experience different changes. I know that I am dealing with way more hot flashes than I ever have. It could be the menopause sneaking up on like a thief in the night. I don't know, but it's good to take note of what's happening in your body so you can give accurate information when you go to the doctor. The timeline could make a difference in the treatment. The timeline could make a difference in the diagnosis. So if you're saying it's
Absolutely.
happened for 3 hours, but it's been 3 months, then you they're not in your head, they're not in your house. So taking a front seat in your care, being an advocate about your care, keep a notebook when you're going through things, take it with you, keep it in your car, whatever, so you can properly document. Your doctor and you should be partners in
That's
this
right.
health crusade. And he or
Right.
she cannot treat you properly when you give them inaccurate information. So just making the step to number one, go to the doctor, and number two, jot down changes, fluctuations. If you're, if you're feeling shaky sometimes, or different things that's happening, I'm changing. I'm 47 and I'm noticing my body is changing. My appetite is changing. Everything's changing. So just make sure you're keeping documentation of that and write down what
Yes.
day it is when you first felt it. It intensified on this
That's right.
day. It died down on this day. It came back on this day.
That's right.
Lower back, right,
Yes.
right leg, left leg. The pinky toe it can act real crazy. If that pinky toe is giving you some problems, you better write that thing down
Say
because that
something.
pinky toe is not saved. Okay, that thing is a heathen. And when it started raining and snowing, my pinky toe does me wrong. Okay, I got to get out here. Anna, I want to thank you. Thank you. I just enjoy
Thank
talking to
you.
you. Your presence
I
is
enjoyed talking to you
beautiful.
too. And your atmosphere is great. Thank you for having us. And if you ladies
Oh,
want to, a gentleman, whoever's here, want to send us an invitation on Facebook, we do put a lot of this information out on our platform. We'd love for you to follow us, Dana McKellar and Taka, on all the platforms.
yes, please look her up. And I'm so grateful that our paths crossed And because she's such an educated woman, and I'm going back to school. She makes me want to go back to school.
Yes, I
She has
love that.
so
I
much
love that. I want everybody to go back to school.
Let's go back to school. Line up, y'all. We going
That's
line
right.
up, shortest to tallest. We going back to school. I got to get out of here. I love you all. Thank you for watching.
Love you
Tune
too.
in next week for Girl Chat Weekly. It's all about women, all about our health, all about our wealth. Tune in. Love you all. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.